Yo, what's up guys? So today I'll be showing you how to make this pleated skirt from Sketchfab. So let's do it. First thing you want to do is go to the sketchfab.com website, search up any skirt you want or dress. So today we're gonna go with the pink pleated skirt. I'm gonna put the description down below for you guys that wanna follow this tutorial. So what you're gonna do is scroll down and download the model. It's in a GLB format, so we'll have to go to Blender to convert it. So once you downloaded it, just extract it to a folder. I've already downloaded it, so I'm gonna say yes to all. Yeah, and you should have it right there with all the textures and everything, and the maps. So now what you want to do before going to Blender is load up a base character. So in this case we're going to use a neutral female model, and we're going to put the pose into T-pose because it's going to help us put the dress directly onto her perfectly. So what you want to do now is extract the character as an OBJ and just name it anything you want. Right. So next thing, open up Blender, import the character first. You're gonna import the character first. I named it T-pose. There it is. So next thing you want to do is import the skirt that you got from Sketchfab as a GLB. So now I'm gonna import it. I'm just gonna add it to the scene, and we're gonna start working on it because it's not perfect. I think the back is too flat. It's not gonna cover everything. So here, as you can see, the skirt is way too small, so I'm just gonna scale it up a bit, but before I'm gonna change the origin to the center of the mass of the skirt. So I scale it up to the point where I want it to be. I scale it, and move it around, make sure it's perfect. Then after this, we're gonna go and sculpt it. We're gonna use the grab brush. We're gonna use as you can see at the back here, it's poking. You can see the characters. You can see the character mesh. So we're gonna go to sculpt mode. I'm gonna start off using the grab brush. My bad. The grab brush, and it's looking a bit weird. In places I can't really use it. So I think I'm gonna opt for the inflate brush in a moment. Yeah. So the inflate is going to help us just inflate those areas and bring them to the surface, while I'm going to do this while I'm smoothing everything out so that the meshes that I'm putting don't clash. So we do this, we make sure that everything's perfect. Yeah, it's a whole process before we start actually enjoying the look of the dress on the character. It's a whole lot of work. So I'm just closing everything, make sure everything's perfect. Mind you, within the process, as you can see here, like the folds, they're gonna get messed up at some point because of the pulling and smoothing and pulling and smoothing and pulling and smoothing. So what I'm gonna do is grab a sharp brush. I'm gonna use the positive side and just grab it. So I used too much of it there, so I'm just gonna decrease the strength and smooth it out just to give it a sharp edge there. It's not perfect, but it's a bit visible. It's not going to be too visible once we put the textures and the base color of the pink skirt on this mesh. Sorry. So yeah, just gonna inflate everything again. Just finish up, do the finishing touches. As you can see, make it fit your character perfectly. Yeah, I think there's areas where it's too bumpy, so I have to smooth everything out and make sure it's smooth. Also at the front here, I'm gonna grab the grab brush and just pull everything forward. I think it's going inside the mesh. Yeah, I'm just gonna pull. Yeah, you need to be familiar with Blender so that you can make a lot of clothes for your characters. As you can see, it's looking good now. It's looking good. By the way, I'm using Blender 3.4. I have Blender 4, but 3.4 is just I used it for a really long time, so I'm comfortable with it. I'm really comfortable with it, but it's your choice. Anything you feel comfortable with, just use it. So now, as you can see, there's too many faces and triangles here. The poly count is way too high. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a decimate modifier what this does is it's gonna decrease the number of yeah, I decreased it way too much. So it's gonna decrease the number of faces, and it's gonna decrease the poly count of the mesh without changing anything like the UV maps or whatever like that. So it's just gonna make it low poly for us to use it in Character Creator, which we always want to use low poly models all the time because they work best with game characters. So we're just gonna extract this script. If you're happy with it, if you sculpted it perfectly, we're just gonna export it as an OBJ. So now we're gonna go up to create and create accessory and import our skirt. And now as you can see, it came in and it's a bit small, or the transform, the what I think it was just pushed forward and it's a bit small, so I'm gonna have to scale it up a bit, as you'll see in a bit. I'm just gonna have to scale it up before I add the textures and everything, before we move on. Yeah, before I transfer the skin weights as well. So as you can see, I'm just gonna pull it up. It's not gonna be perfect. At this point, you're still gonna have to do some work to your model or your clothes or whatever you imported before it's perfect. So now we're happy with it. We're just gonna import the we're gonna import the textures. So now what we realize is that the UV map of the skirt was actually above the bounding area where it's supposed to be, so we just had to pull it down, and that's why in Character Creator it had that hole. It had a big hole at the back there. So we're gonna export the skirt again. You have to choose selected only, because if you don't select only, it's gonna export the character as well. So we bring it back in, we work on it again, we move it back and forth. You have to change the pivot of the skirt to the middle so that it's easier to use, right? So now it's perfect. We just had to change the UV map of it. Just bring it down a bit. There we go. So now we're just gonna transfer the skin weights over to the character. Yeah, and now it's a cloth. So we're gonna activate physics now. The physics is what's gonna make the dress, as the character moves, it's gonna give it a realistic feel to it. You know, most of these clothes or shoes or whatever, or accessories, they feel kind of cartoony. So we're just gonna give it a bit of a realistic feel to it. It's gonna collide with the character's mesh as we activate the physics. So now what I'm creating is a weight map for the skirt, right? As you can see, we want to make sure that we paint the areas that we want to move white. So the top of the skirt at the waist is going to be black. Okay, it's going to be black just like this. We're gonna have to choose a fill, then go down to gradient on the right side. This is why it's important to use Blender 3.4 if you're gonna follow the tutorial, because they're the same. Yeah, after you make the weight map, just export it, and then here on the physics tab, choose weight map, then you load it in, then just give it just choose an animation. So now we're going to choose a walking animation, but now as you can see, I haven't activated the rigid body and soft cloth animation up there, so that's why the cloth is not reacting or doing anything. The physics have not been applied. So now as you can see, after we do that, it's working perfect, but at the back it's kind of poking a bit, but that's okay. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It could use some work. I think the physics of Reallusion is going to get better over time, but in the meantime we'll use this because it's still perfect. So now I just put on shoes, give the character some hair, shirt, just make it look nice. And yeah, this is what we have at the end. Yeah, it's still poking a bit at the back there. I will go and and edit the mesh if necessary. But this was just a tutorial for you guys to see how to make clothes that you get from Sketchfab and make them look realistic for your character. I will be making more tutorials on this topic. I will be helping you guys to make clothes for yourselves. Yeah, everything is free. All I need you guys to do is subscribe. I think this is gonna be my first video. All I need you guys to do is subscribe and help my channel grow. That's it. So thank you guys. We'll meet at the next video.